Moving on, James Bing Bong Shemalama Ding Dong Smith. You should see the size of his passport to get that in there. Who successfully kickstarted the sixth issue of Papa Balloon and Cactus. Yay to we who loves us some Papa Balloon and Cactus comics. And that includes all of us here, I think. Ask question for your old-timey radio program. Hi, Manly Matt and Two Turtle Daves. Nyak, nyak, nyak. This one dates back to Christmas. Two Turtle Daves. Nyak, nyak, nyak. Thanks for the cool photo of you, Dave, in the Papa Balloon and Cactus shirt. It escaped my initial view that you have a, quote, health and safety at work, quote, poster. My sister Vanya, a Russian man's name. Odd when my own given name is so common. I was wondering if this is a Canadian regulation because you have employees or just a taste of your own enduring sense of humor. A little bit of both. By the way, I did want to ask about the 67 on the T-shirt. That I think it's the address in the storyline was 67, and then I read something about 67 being a online meme in one of my newspapers, but it didn't explain what the online meme 67 that was sweeping the world in 2025 had to do with. So anybody that can help me out with that, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, well, that makes two of us now. I was wondering if this is a Canadian regulation because you have employees or just a taste of your enduring sense of humor. Matt says Dave has employees. That's my guess. Wrong. No, I have outside contractors. Everybody that I work with is technically self-employed and just makes me part of their gigs. It's the gig economy, and that's a situation where you don't have to pay taxes on the fact that you're employing someone, because they get the money and then they pay their own taxes depending on how much money they make. A Canadian regulation it was every workplace got one of them, and please post this in a prominent location. I think I got it through the Canadian Federation of Independent Business that I'm a part of, that Aardvark Vanaheim is a part of, and I believe Sandy Atwell was still here at that time, and not an employee, but an outside contractor that worked here off and on, and then worked from home the rest of the time. And he basically decorated Camp David, which is still the same decor that it has to this day, Sandy. I don't know if you're listening. And one of them was, he definitely wanted to put that poster up and put next to it a picture of Justin Trudeau and repeal the carbon tax, which it only had to be up on the wall in Camp David for 5 years, and finally it happened. Repealed the carbon tax. Well, the personal carbon tax, not the corporate carbon tax. But why am I bothering you with my Canadian problems? Thanks again. Thank you. I still got the service is a damn pope drawing that you did, and I'm at some point I'm going to turn that into a comic strip. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that. Definitely after the Ninja Hell or Ninja High School Ninja High School crossover is done, which projecting later this spring, early summer, at the latest. So that's something I know exactly where the drawing is. This is why you haven't heard from me about Papa Balloon and Cactus number 5, because I'm going, well, I'm not going to write to him until I actually decide what I'm going to do with this. And that's now been a while. You're on issue number 6. P.S. Mark Wheatley is working on my 6th issue, doing a 4-pager like Terry Wood and Shannon Wheeler have in the past. Both of them very enjoyable efforts, and I'm definitely looking forward to what Mark Wheatley is going to do. He was reminiscing about touring with you and had very nice things to say. Thought I'd pass along the warm regards. James Banderas Smith. And Mark Wheatley and I go back a while, at least to the Spirits of Independence tours, where he was at a number of the stops. And I believe he shared a studio with Mark Hempel. And if you ever see a picture from the time period of Mark Wheatley and Mark Hempel side by side, and see if you can find one from the 1990s, Mark Hempel and Mark Wheatley, to me, they are and always will be the Simon and Garfunkel of comics. See if you don't look at a picture of the two of them together and go, by God, Dave Sims right again. They are the Simon and Garfunkel of comics. Anonymous asked, hello Anonymous, thanks for dropping by. I see that there is a Citadel miniature Cerebus up on eBay. Has Dave ever discussed this or any unlicensed merch? Matt says, I think we might have, but I'm getting old. I don't remember too good no more. Welcome to the club. The Citadel miniature was the first illegal merchandise, and that was something that we got Will Jenkins to write a letter, found what their address was, wrote to them, said, you don't have permission to do this. Please take these off the market, but please send us a bunch for the Cerebus archive. That was one of those, okay, parts of this are not adding up. Why are you threatening legal action against somebody for something that is really cool, and you'll have to pry it out of my cold dead fingers? They're still upstairs in the archive closet here at the Off White House. So that got modified definitely over the years to if you're just doing a bunch of them, whatever it is, and you think you can sell them, and you want to call it Cerebus, or you want to call it Fighting Aardvark, or whatever you want to call it, and it's either a comic book or it's a 3-dimensional thing. The amount of effort that you're going to put into doing it and getting it done, and getting your feet wet as a manufacturer, I'll pass on royalties. It's just promotion for Cerebus, and by all means, go ahead and do it. At this point, it might behoove us to have Manly Matt Dow interrupt and tell us the story of his Cerebus coffee mug that he was going to get rich off of with the flying Cerebus feet from the later parts of the Cerebus storyline. So go ahead on that, Matt, and see if it doesn't dovetail with what I'm saying, that whatever you got out of it, you certainly put a lot more into it than you got out of it. April C., also known as Creative Faye, sends in. And we are moving forward. We are making progress here. We are now on page 18 of 28. Hey, look, it's the please hold of my birthday month. So it either be celebratory or an existential crisis. You'll have to get back to us on that one for please hold in March, April. You'll have to get back to us about that in March, April, about your birthday in February. We'll see. Nyak, nyak, nyak. Thank you both for helping me complete my Cerebus collection. I look forward to reaching the top of Mount Cerebus. Yeah, you definitely got the full effect now. I am located in Washington. Okay, I got that wrong. I said you were in Oregon last time. Aaron Lopresti is located in Oregon, but it's all the Pacific Northwest. We live in the past. Nyak, nyak, nyak. Thank you for the clarification on the Jeff thing and wise advice. I have a King James Version Bible. I keep looking for an interlinear Bible when I go to the used bookstore, but I haven't had any luck, so I might just have to order it online. Yeah, the interlinear I got from David Johnson in the Midwest years and years and years and years ago, and I have never seen the interlinear of the Gospels in the original Koine Greek, word for word translation anywhere else. So it is one of those. I think you have to ask specifically for that, and it is the Gospels. It's not. You're not going to find an interlinear of the Law and the Prophets, the Torah, the 5 books of Moshe, Joshua, Judges. I did find those at a Bible store that opened in the same mall that Studio Comics Press is in, the Frederick Street Mall, years and years and years ago, and glommed onto those because it was the earliest one, I believe, was Samuel. So it was like the second, third, and fourth books, and the interlinear for Hebrew doesn't work the same way. It's you can certainly see, okay, this is Hebrew phrasing, this is Hebrew syntax, but you can't pick up an interlinear version of the Law and the Prophets and just start reading the English and have it make any sense. This is what I see as the miracle of the Koine Greek interlinear Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and all of the epistles from Paul, Revelation, that I was looking at it when I got it from David Johnson. I'm looking at it and going, well, this is just really peculiar. And then reading the translation which is next to it, which is actually a paraphrase. It's not a translation. It's, okay, here's what the text actually says, and here's what we changed it into. And I thought, well, how does this read? What if I just started reading the word for word Koine Greek? And it was, boy, if you aren't going to call this a miracle, I don't know what else you would call it. In beginning was the Word, and the Word was toward the God, and God was the Word. This was in beginning toward the God. All through him came to be, and apart from him came to be not, however, one. Which is come to be in him, life was, and the life was the light of the men. And it's like I say, you couldn't do that with either the Law and the Prophets or the Quran. I have seen, interlinear Quran, and it's like, no, completely different language, completely different syntax. But this one, it's when I try reading John's Gospel in the King James Version, the 1611. It's it's interesting. It's obviously very well written. It was partly written by Shakespeare as one of the translators, but is completely missing the specificity of what the words are saying, which is why I've been doing the Monday reports, is to say, no, this is what the text says, which implies this. As an example, and the light and the darkness is shining, and the darkness it not overpowered. And it's like, the way that's phrased, it's like the darkness didn't overpower the light, and the light didn't overpower the darkness. And when it's translated, it's the light wasn't overpowered. And it's like, well, that's a paraphrase. It's not what the actual text says. Anyway, I keep looking. I haven't had any luck. And while we are on the subject, I've started reading Proverbs. Thank you for clarifying which is scripture and which is commentary. Yeah, Proverbs and Psalms are both, like, they're interesting, they're edifying, but they are distinct from scripture. They're technically called historical writings, but that more applies to Samuel and Kings. Psalms are, well, from my perspective, if you look at the Psalms, there's I think 150 of them, and out of the 150, X number use YHWH, and X number use God, and there's some crossover that use both, but very, very few. There's like God Psalms and YHWH Psalms, which I think is exactly how David experienced them. Part of me did consider that they were different Suentius Poes, with it being a common name, but part of me was hoping they were the same because it made it funnier to me. In that case, April C., Creative Fae, be my guest. If that's the way you want it to be, it's your Mount Cerebus. You can perceive it whatever way that you want. Well, I did nick the term red line from the news. I figured with all the newspapers you read, you've seen it. Yeah, it comes and goes, but when it comes, it's here for a while. Better way to phrase the question would be, quote, what are your pet peeves, or what acts irritate you, unquote. I think this would have steered us away from the gossip aspect of the original question. I apologize for putting you in that position. No problem. You didn't do it intentionally. One of the experiences that I have is that I really don't get irritated. There aren't things that irritate me because literally the devil is in the details. Like that's a very common expression, but it is literally true in my experience that if I feel myself getting irritated, my reaction is exclusively now, okay, this is being done to me. Somebody is probing my defenses to see, okay, will you get irritated about this? Don't push me, I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like, no, it doesn't happen anymore, because the sheer experience of going, okay, if I am starting to feel irritated, I'm being targeted. So it doesn't work then. It's like, no, you're just trying to irritate me. Nice try. Go and find a softer subject somewhere, because I trust in God. So things that would have irritated me 25 years ago, it's like, no, nice try. It's I don't get irritated, and what I usually find is, okay, this is going to take some unraveling, and I got to figure out what order to do this in, and I got to figure out when to do this and how to do this. But it's not irritating me. It's intended to irritate me because it's, well, okay, if you're going to explain that, then you've got to explain this thing over here. And if you explain this thing over here, then you have to explain this thing over here. There's a perfect example right now that this is all I'm going to say about it, but it's definitely no. Whoever is inhabiting you has compelled you to do this in the interests of irritating me. And yes, this is going to take a lot of unraveling and untying before I can even talk fully about it. I got in the 1982 tour book from Dagan James, and it's like, oy vey, this is a traffic accident. And like Dagan's treating it as, well, okay, now it's all done. You know, are you going to do a cover? Are you going to do this? Can you do special drawings for people who buy this? Is it okay if we include this with the thing? And it's like, no, you can't. This is why I say it's not irritating. It's, you can't take 4 years to put a book together and then send it to me and then send me questions like, okay, we're all set to do the Kickstarter. Now, looking at the book, it's probably going to take me, conservative estimate, 2 years to unravel all of the bundle of intended to be irritating things made up of it, of which it is composed, and then go, okay, here's how it's going to work. Maybe less than 2 years, but no, it took Dagan. It took you 4 years to for whatever it is inhabiting you to bundle up all of these irritants into one big bundle. I can't untie them in in a week, and I'm not going to say, no, you can go ahead and do this. It doesn't matter, even though it's just this giant bundle of wannabe irritants. No, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. So that's a good example of, I think, the better approach to irritation is not to get irritated. Anytime you're irritated or anytime you start to feel irritated, just remember, the devil is in the details. The devil is trying to get you to do is to react badly, to overreact. So don't do that. It's like level of irritation. Anything can be figured out. Anything can be solved. Some things take longer than others, but there's nothing worth getting irritated about. As Walt Kelly said, there's no point getting upset about life. It ain't no how permanent. I grew up on a lot of old movies and TV shows, which Mork and Mindy was one of. Hey, that's going back a ways. I should add, I read a lot of old books too. What got me into reading and into wanting to become a storyteller was the book The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. You know, I've never actually read that one. This was also my first experience into diving into researching an author and their works. That is the interesting thing about media. When we stop and think about how much we consume that existed before we were alive, you touched on the subject in Reads when you get into the time gap between author and reader and how the reader is only subject to the author's will if they keep reading. Actually finish the pages and we'll be attaching the scan pages to this email for your editing. I like driving myself mad trying to draw comic pages. Nyuk, nyuk. Although my next Service in Hell project will be the traditional approach. Good. I also feel I should apologize for the bottom panel of page 4. In no way am I endorsing violence against Dave Sim. Well, that's good. Very glad to hear it. And I pray there are no metaphysical consequences for drawing such a panel. It is only meant as a device to move the story forward. Well, we never know metaphysics until we're past it and it's in the rearview mirror, and then we look back and go, ooh, metaphysics. Questions. 1. When did you start writing and what sparked your interest in literature? The first things that I wrote were in little notebooks where I would write like the origin of Batman as I pictured it before I knew what the origin of Batman was. Secret Origins of Superman, basically trying to do text pages from Superman comics that existed, but my own version of them. And what sparked your interest in literature? I would have to say Norman Mailer. I was part of a science fiction book club that my parents enrolled me in to try and steer me away from comic books, I think, and enjoyed those for what they were, and thought, well, this is what the world is composed of, and then read Norman Mailer's "The Dead Are Dying of Thirst," which was his book about the Ollie Frazier fight. The Ollie Foreman fight? Oh, the Ollie Frazier fight. Later published as The Fight. I read it serialized in Playboy and went, wow, this is different. This isn't comic books. This isn't science fiction. I don't really know what this is, but just the way he puts words together and concepts together, I had no idea that you could use writing for that. Here's a very large concept encapsulated in 2 paragraphs or 4 sentences, and this conveys a much larger concept of what it is that I'm talking about here. And it's like, I don't know what this is, but that was really, I got on to Norman Mailer, and then shortly thereafter, I think on Mailer's recommendation in an interview or something, went to Dostoevsky and went, oh, okay, there's writing, there's entertainment, and there's literature, and definitely developed a preference for it. When did you notice people coming to you asking for advice about comics and publishing? Actually, I just looked down and off to my right, and there was Martin Wagner of Hepcats. I'm pretty sure he was the first who was going to self-publish, was a Cerebus fan, and wanted to know more about self-publishing, and consequently asked very good questions because he'd already been reading what I had to say about it, but was more pointedly going, no, I are a self-publisher. Can you tell me about this, and this that you've only alluded to before? And then from that led to James Owen's The Fatal Five, and the whole collapse of that side of things. That no good deed goes unpunished, they say, and definitely found that experience with helping other self-publishers. But it's a thing that I can't stop myself from doing for some reason. Some people are natural helpers, and most self-publishers aren't. I always said, if anything that I'm telling you is helpful to you and steers you in the right direction, just remember the stuff that I'm saying, just remember the stuff that you're learning, and pass it on to someone else. Don't credit me, don't try to turn me into a self-publishing guru. You're going to make as many choices on your own as I made. Some of them will work, some of them won't. pass it on to somebody else. And I have to say, most of the self-publishers didn't do that. Don't know why. Probably a much greater level of common sense than I've got. It's like, no, this looks like a recipe for eating my life at somebody else's expense. I'll pass on it. So I didn't do that. And yes, it did eat up a big chunk of my life. You've been to many places in the world. What made you decide to live in Kitchener? Well, before I had the sense of this is where God put me, I think I still had that sense of this is where God put me. I don't know why I'm in Kitchener, but this is where I'm supposed to be. It certainly wouldn't be my first choice of a place to live, and it's certainly completely at odds with who I am. But my sense now is, well, that's why God put you there, because you will learn things from having absolutely no connection with where you live that you will never learn any other way. If you lived someplace that you loved, you'd spend all your time being distracted by all of the things that place has to offer. The best thing Kitchener has to offer for me is complete incompatibility with the people who live here, and quiet and space to work, because nobody in Kitchener thinks the way that I do. And do you still see some of the people from your youth? No, definitely not. I'm going to be 70 this year. So what happens a lot of times is that I'll see somebody downtown and I go, "Oh, is that so and so?" And it's like, "No, it's not so and so. That person looked like so and so from 40 years ago." It's not outside of the realm of possibility that I walk past people every day that I don't recognize that I went to high school with, because when I knew them, they were high school students, and now they're septuagenarians. And septuagenarians are completely unrecognizable. And no one wants to recognize them. It's a 70-year-old man. Who the hell wants to look at a 70-year-old man? I got to do some cleanup, and I think I'm going to redo page 1, especially the car scene, because I think I have a better solution for it. It is a reference to another Carpenter film, Christine. God bless you, Dave and Matt. April. Okay, I will get to a critique of the pages, and yes, thank you for the scans. They're definitely much easier to look at and analyze than the photos that you were sending relay before. I would say one of the things that just off the top of my head, looking at the first page here, you have to learn spacing on the captions. That captions and word balloons. If you just find a photocopier that has reduction capability, and take the captions and the word balloons that you've done so far and reduce them on the photocopier by about 80%, and then cut around them, and then paste them into the same places that they are now, but with room around them. And I think you'll see right away, okay, that's why I have to start thinking that way, because that definitely helps the look of the page right off the top, that there's breathing room. If you put the caption box right up against the letters, and if you put the word balloon right up against the letters, then it's just your work is never going to look anything except crowded, and you don't want that. You don't want people picking up your work, and as soon as they look at the first page, they go, "Oh, this is crowded." It's like they won't register it consciously, but they'll go, oh, this is maybe not professional, but it's semi-pro, and that'll be a lot of the reason, because amateurs don't leave room for the lettering, professionals do. Okay, and how are we doing now?